Good morning, everyone. I'm going to call the Historic Preservation Commission meeting on March 25th to order. We will start with roll call, please.
Chair Laramie,
Here.
Vice Chair Levine,
Here.
Commissioner Stodel,
Present.
Commissioner Hotchkiss, he's excused. Commissioner Serfas,
Here.
Commissioner Cosgrove, Commissioner Palacios,
Here.
Commissioner Moody,
Here.
Commissioner Perdue, Commissioner Grimmer,
Here.
Commissioner Harper, Commissioner Seabrandt,
Here.
Commissioner Gillespie. She's not present. Thank you. We do have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Our second item is an announcement regarding compliance with open meeting law. Are we in compliance?
Yes, we are.
Perfect. Our third item today is public comment. Comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. If you wish to be heard, please come forward and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion, as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed, may be limited. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak today? No? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to item 4 for possible action to approve the final minutes by reference of the regular meeting of February 25th, 2026. Do we have any comments before we take a motion?
Commissioner Moody, I'll be abstaining since I missed last meeting.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? If not, I'll look for a motion to approve.
Motion.
That's a motion to approve? Okay, we have a motion to approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item passes with the chair voting in favor. Moving on to item number 26-0138 HPC1, report by Jay Dapper, principal of Dapper Companies, regarding the status of the Huntridge Theater located at 1208 East Charleston Boulevard.
Seabrandt for the record. Mr. Dapper sends his apologies. He had an unexpected conflict with this meeting, so we would like to ask to have this obeyed to the April meeting.
Okay. Do we have a motion to obey this item?
Commissioner Cosgrove, I motion to obey the item.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I need the date. I think it was changed, wasn't it? April 29th, right? Thank you.
Chair, just a quick question. This, I assume we will still have 4 quarterly reports or 4 reports this year from Mr. Dapper as the legal agreement requires?
Seabrandt for the record, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion to obey this item to our April 28th meeting, 29th meeting, I apologize. All those in favor, no opposed, that item passes with the chair voting in favor as well. We'll move on to item number 6, 26-0132-HPC1, discussion for possible action regarding approval of Historic Preservation Commission funds in the amount of $5,000 to use as a match for a federal Historic Preservation Fund grant to hire a consultant to complete a National Register of Historic Places nomination for Johnny Toco's roadside boxing gym located at 9 West Charleston Boulevard.
Seabrandt for the record, thank you, Chair. So Johnny Taco's boxing gym, this is a picture of Mr. Taco and Mike Tyson. The building itself, well, let me go back a little bit. So this is a SHPO grant that we apply for as a CLG. That SHPO likes to spend this money, so we try and submit applications and proposals for projects that we feel are worthy. The gym itself, I have outside images that show two sides of the building. That's Mike in the orange jacket for scale. Um, it's basically a square building. There's nothing really phenomenal about the building. However, it has remained in its same location since it was built in the 50s. There is a lot of conflicting information out there about when the building was there, when Johnny Tocco arrived in Las Vegas, because a lot of the history that's out there on the internet is taken from media articles or non-peer-reviewed articles. So it's important to get the actual history of this gym and its clientele and its owner so that we understand its actual history, not just conjecture. So again, the building itself is not phenomenal, but it's the clientele and it is the boxer. And not sure if everybody read the backup. I hope you did. I'll just kind of summarize it here. So Mr. Tocco was not only training very well-renowned, world-renowned boxers such as Sonny Liston and Larry Holmes, several others. I'm sorry, I don't really know boxers. I'm not familiar with that history. Muhammad Ali did not train there, but he did visit there. So all these boxers, starting in the 50s, would train at Johnny Tocco's. Mr. Tocco himself would also train a lot of the youth in the area. So he was very involved with the Las Vegas community. He was awarded several accolades during his time in Las Vegas. He was named the City of Las Vegas April 1997 Citizen of the Month and given a key to the city because of his contributions to the community. He was a non-boxer inductee at the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame in 2016. And a little bit before that, in 2000, he was added to the Southern Nevada Sports Hall of Fame for being one of the most prominent boxing trainers, and basically in Las Vegas' most prominent boxing trainer. Now, I know Bob's gonna say that the fights didn't occur in the city. They did not. The majority of boxing matches occurred on the Strip, mainly at Caesars. However, all the training, except for Muhammad Ali, that's because his trainers preferred that he train at the Caesars for press. But all the other mainstream boxers would train at Johnny Tocco's boxing gym. The owner is very interested in adding it to the register, understanding its real history. And there are, again, it's not just these world famous boxers, but it's the community that also was part of this. The owner has murals and photographs of all the boxers that train there. There are also a lot of female boxers that were training there as well. And it's just, this building is important because it would fit, hopefully, the criterion B for person or persons associated with significant people of America's past. Now, like I said, whether you like boxing or not, I mean, it was a huge part of Las Vegas, especially in the 80s. And it's very rare for us to have somebody that is interested in being on the historic register. Usually we get, I don't want to do that, and so we have nothing to move forward with. This is a great opportunity for us to show SHPO that we are, very involved with this community, that we want to add places to the National Register, and then if we get it on the National Register, we might be able to also get it on the local register. So the SHPO grants always do require a 40% match. So we asked SHPO for $7,200, and we would like to match that with HPC funds at the amount of $5,000, and then we can hire a cultural resource management firm for about $12,200 to do the research, write the nomination, submit the nomination. So I'm happy to ask questions, because I'm sure there will be some.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments from commissioners? Vice Chair?
Please.
We can start with Craig.
I guess I'm a little, what's the word, suspect, you know. In my years in sustainability and historical preservation, I find different reasons why people want to go into either of those things, and I find a lot of times they don't know what they're getting involved with. I don't know who spoke with this person, and I love boxing. I love all sports. I was just talking about that. I know that this place is the foremost location for the sport within Las Vegas. It's got a lot of stars that have gone there. I wish it was a more interesting building. But to get to my question, do we know why he wants to do it? And do we know if he knows what he's getting himself into? He's going to basically lock in this corner for the duration and limit it from any kind of development for many years to come.
Well, that's not entirely true. I'm sorry, Seaborn for the record. Yes, I have spoken with Jimmy Smith, is the owner, numerous times. I have visited him at the gym, and he knows exactly what he's getting into. I have explained all the registers to him. I've explained what restrictions come with which historic register. And because a national register would not prohibit it from being redeveloped, because unless he gets a grant from the federal grant, a national register listing does not prohibit you from altering or tearing down your building. It's only our local register that prohibits that without the approval of the HPC.
Okay, well, that answers my question. Palacios, for the record, that answers my question. And if that's the case, I'm thrilled to see him do it. I think that's wonderful.
Hold on for the record, just, so did he initiate, Jimmy Smith initiate this?
Okay, so Seaborn for the record. Back in 2005, the HPC wanted to put this building on the register, and at that time, I guess this commission did not have the centennial funding that we have now, and there was only $4,000, it looks like, in the whatever they could fund. So there was the idea to have a UNLV student do the nomination for free, but that never panned out. I don't know, Bob, you may remember this.
I don't, but I will research that. Okay. I don't remember us.
Yeah, it came before the commission October 26, 2005. Right. And then again, I couldn't find I couldn't find any backup, but the notes say there were no backup documents. So there's always been interest in putting this on the register. And I'm sorry, Commissioner Palacios, I did not answer one part of your question. We came to him because he had contacted our EUD about looking at perhaps doing some type of alterations, and realizing the history of it, EUD contacted myself and Mike Howe, and we went to talk to Jimmy, and he's interested in being on the register, but we came to him because, again, we have this great opportunity for a grant. We have a great opportunity to hopefully put something on the register, and a great opportunity to, embellish a true boxing history in Las Vegas.
Having done some work on this before, and certainly in the 80s, I think the right word is embellished. The history is embellished, and yes, Mr. Liston and Mr. Holmes showed up there, and so did other less famous boxers. But the challenge for me, first, is the value of doing the nomination is going to really clear the facts up. What are the real facts regarding this facility? And we will likely run across the fact that last year the whole structure was for sale, and there was considerable discussion about demolition because it's such a key site. And we also know that the city has now just begun a look at that section of Charleston, the Charleston underpass. And so that whole area, along with the Arts District and Main Street, that property has become very valuable. The challenge that I have is the building doesn't stand alone. There's the transportation, the buses to Mexico on the one side where you have the pictures, on the one on the right. And then there's the break and tire place that's further west on, connected to that building. And then the second part, the reason I'm going to support it is because we will find the true history and then whether or not it really qualifies. This is, I don't think a given. There's a lot of promotion that has been made, I'm using that most positive word regarding this facility, which was built, the building was built in the 40s. And I think that he took over and had the Zodiac, was the Zodiac bar there for a while, and he's a colorful character. And so I'm not sure of the motive. My motive is to support this, is that we will get a factual history of which to move forward. I'm not sure it qualifies. I mean, but that's not necessarily, but we will get that. This is a recommendation. They're going to look at it and recommend whether we do it, or they're going to simply draft the nomination.
So we would have somebody draft the nomination, but we could in a contract put in if we prefer that they do a recommendation and draft it.
Yeah, again, it was on the market for sale this past year, and it's a great piece of property with a very interesting history, whether it qualifies for the National Register. And of course, I think you explained that of all the register nominations and he selected or potentially selected this one as opposed to the city, which would have more, he'd have to come before this group to, and change the outside, et cetera. So I think he's picking for the one that's his prerogative, so. But he's not contributing any money though, correct?
No, he is not.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Laramie, I think that the motive of just learning the true history of this building is really positive for the application being put forward to us. I also just want to add that in kind of the preservation industry, there is a desire to expand our register nominations beyond kind of those phenomenal architectural buildings and really dive into some of these maybe more commonplace buildings that really do have significant social history and other elements of history that are important to the community but don't always come to light when it's not viewed as maybe an extraordinary building. So I think this is a really great opportunity for us to kind of learn what that process is as well. And if the building does qualify, provides that opportunity. So I'm happy to support it through that lens. I did also want to add that I also am not sure that it will end up qualifying, but there is a possibility that it could also potentially qualify for a state nomination. And so I do think that in the scope, potentially maybe focusing more on the recommendations and then drafting a nomination for whatever might be recommended, understanding that it would be either national or state, which don't have those regulations that come with the local register.
Chair, one last question, Stoll, again for the record. Do we understand that that what generated this was that he was looking at opportunities for financial help from the city of Las Vegas for some sort of restoration, and that generated this?
Seaborn, for the record, I do not know that answer. Mike, do you know that answer? No.
Great, thank you.
Are there any other comments or questions? Commissioner Grimmer?
Commissioner Grimmer, for the record, not to repeat what everybody else has said, but I would agree with that this is, with the importance of boxing in Las Vegas's history, I think it is important to go ahead and move this forward so that we can determine if there is historic value to the property. So I would also agree with moving forward with this.
I'd like to make a motion to approve 26 dash 0132 dash HPC1 regarding the Johnny Tacos roadside boxing gym with the idea that it would include within the nomination a recommendation as to whether to move forward with the nomination.
We have a motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes with the chair voting in favor as well.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 7, 26-0133 HPC1, report by the Community Development Department regarding properties currently listed on the National Register of Historic Places.
Thank you, Seabrant, for the record again. And pretty much it's going to be me talking all day, just to let you know. So I'll let Seth jump in at some point. So this is a request from this commission, requested to know if we could update the National Register nominations for any of the older nominations. So here we have everything that was nominated prior to the year 2000. So that includes the Big Springs Archaeological Site, the Tule Springs Archaeological Site, the Floyd Lamb Park Ranch. I know that we had a discussion about that one. That's still in the works. The post office, which is now, of course, the Mob Museum, the J. Dayton Smith House, the Fifth Street School, the Las Vegas School Neighborhood District, the Huntridge Theater, and Eureka Locomotive. But keeping in mind that some of these have also been placed on the state or local register after that. I'm going to throw a bunch of dates at you here, but you don't have to memorize them, and you can ask me if you forgot one. So as far as the Big Springs Archaeological Site, it was nominated to the state in 1981, so I mean just a few years after 78. Tule Springs Archaeological Site, again in 81 with the state. Floyd Lamb Park at Tule Springs was put on the local register in 2008. The Mob Museum, state in 2002 and local 2003. J. Dayton Smith House, that's only on the national register. The Fifth Street School, 1981. Wow, you guys were really busy in 1981. Or somebody was busy in 1981. Was on state and the local in 1992. The high school neighborhood district is only on the national. Huntridge Theater, of course, we know that we put that on our local register in 2021. It was also placed on the state register in 1999. So this is not a voting item. This is just an give you an idea of what is old, anything that we want to update. These are the potential candidates.
Any comments or questions?
Commissioner Moody, for the record, what kind of expense are we looking at for each of these for an update?
Seabrand, for the record, so it would be basically what we just approved for the gym. It's about $12,000 to pay a consultant to do the work.
And we have those funds available?
Actually, we do, or hold on, I had a note, and I always write everything down, and then I lose my notes because I walk over here and I drop my papers. We have Teresa, tell me if I got this right, 216,000, I can't remember what the 200,000, at least over $200,000 left in our bank.
Great, thank you.
Commissioner Perdue, did you also have a question or comment?
No.
Okay. Vice Chair Stodel? No?
Wait, no, I'm not belonging to the vice chair.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Commissioner Stodel.
Well, that's okay.
Strike that.
What we have done is what this commission has done has really cleaned up a lot of these, whether it's the historic West Side School and different places. The other thing I was thinking about, my recommendation is going to be for number 3, which came out of the report that we funded a recommendation, I believe, to update the Floyd Land Park at Thule Springs. That was 81, and it's outdated, and I will think positively and use the word factually, it needs to be updated. So I would recommend that we redo the nomination on that. The other ones, I think I would, I would recommend that we send a note to the owners, for example, well, the city still owns the post office, but I know that the post office courthouse mob museum, 83, that was quite a while ago, but they're undergoing a redevelopment plan and are in conversation with SHPO and so forth. I'm wondering if maybe the Huntridge Theater, the Eureka Locomotive, whether we have addresses on these places and whether we ask them if they want to have an update before we go through.
Oh, yeah, Sebring for the record, absolutely. We wouldn't do this without owners' knowledge.
Okay, okay. So my only specific action recommendation, I know this is not an action item, but would recommend that the number 3 Floyd Land Park at Thule Springs, the 1981 national nomination, that it be amended and that we put it on an upcoming agenda.
Jack Levine for the record. What is the Eureka Locomotive? I've never heard of this. I don't know anything about it. What is there any?
Sebring for the right. So it is a restricted nomination because it's a privately owned locomotive. So it's a locomotive that actually Mike Howe knows more about it than I do. I guess it used to be as part of the
Old Town.
Eldorado
Yeah, so
parade.
for the record, Michael Howe, I believe, and I apologize if I don't know his current status, but Dan Markoff, a local attorney, owned it. You've seen it prominently. It's been used in film. It was in Back to the Future. It was used in some Visa ads. It's one of the few narrow gauge, wood-fired steam locomotives used in mining in the state of Nevada. And then why I know so much is because we actually installed it on Fremont Street for the centennial in 2005.
Where is it?
It burned down
At his house.
at the fire out in Henderson at Old Las Vegas. And Dan Markoff got it. It was completely gutted. He hand-built it. And to the state that it's on the National Register. Markoff is still a member of the Nevada State Board of Museums and History. It runs. He takes it out on a regular basis to various places, as Mike pointed out. I lettered to him and asking him if it needs to be updated. He would respond. He's retired, but active.
So, and Vice Chair Levine, to answer your question, I believe it's at his residence, I think.
Yes, it is.
Okay, yeah.
Backyard.
How does he move it around? Where's tracks that it can run on?
He's got a trailer.
Okay.
And literally, it's pulled up onto this trailer, and he tows it to Carson City or to Colorado or wherever. Although I don't think he's retired for a long while. So I don't know the last time he's taken it out. But it's in the neighborhood, and the neighbors all love it.
Given the interest in the Eureka locomotive, I think that would be one we definitely would want to talk about in the future for updating. And I also wanted to highlight the Las Vegas High School Neighborhood District as one that I would personally like to prioritize for an update. I know a lot has changed in that neighborhood, as well as a lot of ownership has, I'm sure, changed over. And so seeing if there's, individual properties in there that may now be interested in a state or local register, I think could also be worthwhile. And so that's another one I would highlight there. I know this is just for discussion, so I think any future actions that we're interested in, we can talk about when we get to that portion of the agenda for future agenda items. Are there any other comments from commissioners on this item?
Commissioner Moody,
Yes.
so the vice chair made a motion. Are we going to hold that till the end?
I don't think we need a motion on this item because there's no decision.
Okay.
So if there are actions that would need to be recommended for a future agenda item, which is not sure which number, item number 14. Your mic's not on, Commissioner. There you go.
Here. Do we have an aversion to having privately held businesses on this list?
Stephen, for the record, as long as the owner agrees, that's,
Well, that would tie the business up. So I'm just wondering if there's been any kind of an attitude in the past that businesses are not interested in historical preservation.
it depends. So some are, but again, if it's on the National Register, there are no restrictions unless that property owner receives a federal grant. It's only when it's placed on our local register that it falls under our Title 19 municipal ordinance where we have restrictions.
Okay.
Great. Well, thank you for this great update, and I'm sure we'll continue talking about this on future items.
I'm sorry, I just want to make clear that I understand that if it's on the National Register, there are 0 restrictions.
Stephen, for the record, that is correct.
And the only time there would be a restriction if I accepted federal grant money.
Correct.
Thank you.
And you can only accept federal grant money if you're a business. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 8, 26-0134, HPC 1, a report by the Community Development Department regarding content provided to the Commission of the Las Vegas Centennial to update the City of Las Vegas website.
Sebring, for the record. So this is going to tie into number 9, but number 9 is a vote, and this one's just a report, so we can't put them together. But just wanted to give you background so you understand what is being asked for in item number 9. So the Centennial Commission provided funding to hire a content creator, website content creator to update the Centennial grants that are on the city's website. And so this is just to show you the type of work that has been produced to show on the city's website. Providing the consultant, Jeffrey Carlson, he provided written narrative as well as images. Again, these are for, so this is not what this commission does, this is what the Centennial Commission does. And so we gave him all of the grants that we had, and he created these summaries. And now when you go to our website, all these summaries are up there. And say if you want to know something about the Safari Hotel or one of our documentaries, that's all up there. So what he did is he went through all of our grants. He did a summary, making sure that all boxes were checked, find the images for whatever the grant project was. He also provided again, content for the timeline. And Bob, that is just with communications now. So we should hopefully have that up, hopefully in the next couple weeks. And again, what he focused on and what he would focus on for what I'll be talking about next is key figures, places, events that occurred in Las Vegas. And from the timeline, again, he did a summary and provided images. And again, this is just to give you an idea of what we're looking for that could possibly be done with the HPC, the history blogs. I won't go through all these slides because it's basically all the same information as far as narrative and images. And if you want to read all of this, you can go to our website once we have all this up, but you can go read all the grant summaries to see if this is the type of information that you feel is important to be highlighted on our website. So again, this is just a report. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions or comments from commissioners?
Commissioner Perdue, I thought it was very interesting, and I particularly liked the coinciding of the population growth as they went through each decade.
Well, we have Bob to thank for that. He suggested we put that on there, so thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, we'll move on to item number 9, a related topic, 26-0135, HPC 1, discussion for possible action regarding approval of funding in the amount of $31,500 to hire a website content creator to create historic blog posts for the City of Las Vegas website.
Thank you. So Seabird again. So you just saw the images of what the Jeffrey Carlson, the content creator that we've been talking to about doing a similar project for the blogs that are on our website. And he's provided the proposed articles that he would write about. He is open to changing those. He provided us the amount based on his hourly rate. And this is an action item, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Do we have any questions or comments? Commissioner Purdue?
No.
No. Commissioner Stodel?
Fundamentally, I like the idea, but I think that relating to what Dr. Seabrand presented in the previous item, which is also the work of Mr. Carlson, of the timeline. The city's timeline that's on there right now is adequate. The one that the Centennial Commission proposed and Mr. Carlson created based on research and really updating the content and adding additional historic sites. It was interesting to me that the part of the process, and I don't know if this was part of the packet, Daniel, Dr. Seabrand, but it came out of the Centennial Commission. What was the filter that was used for the timeline? And that filter, to me, is the one that we should use to select the stories that need to be more in-depth. For example, there is so much misinformation regarding the May 15th, 16th, and actually it was 3 days, 17th, city auction, or excuse me, a land sale auction on the May 15th, 1905, 16th, and 17th, that we need a longer in-depth article to clean up all that information. Plus, the list that he is also supplying, there's already a documentary in works regarding the period of 1904 to, where's his list? To 1904 to 1906. There's already a couple $300,000 been funded, then that's in works for that process. What I would recommend is members of this commission look through the timeline that I think Dr. Seabrand, you said is going to be on the website in the next month or so, weeks or so, and select the stories that the commission feels are ones that we could say, Mr. Carlson, these are the ones that we need to have 1,000 words added or created with some source information at the end. For example, on this, all the photographs is source information, but they're only 30 to 60 words on the timeline. Some of that really needs to be expanded. Our history timeline, according to our history site, elements of the city's history site, according to the communication department here, is one of the most popular and search. And so I think if we start adding some articles in depth, not book length, but certainly 1,000 words, that we should expand some of these topics. So that's going to be my recommendation, that this group takes a look at the timeline and sends those recommendations to Dr. Seabrand, and then in turn, those are the ones that we would have Mr. Carlson do. If any of that made any sense.
Seabrand, it did. So he, on his proposal, suggested 7. Do you want to stay with 7, or do we want to use a different number, or fewer, or
Well, I think that's a
more?
good question because it leads to the next question, which is, what should we pay for each article? And so the question then is, how much are we changing this action item to whether should we deny this action item or well, if we obey it, it's basically the same item, because I think my recommendation will be to change the topics to those recommended by this commission. And then it's likely we'll come up with more than 7. I'm not sure that what would be the easiest and quickest way to move forward with this.
Before we make a decision on our approval process, do we want to take other comments and questions, and then we can decide the best way to move forward? I think that I saw Commissioner Cosgrove. Did you have a comment or question? It was clarified. Okay. Do we have any other commissioners wanting to speak on this?
I'll speak. So we're just trying to pass a bulk $31,000 that's divided into 7 articles, okay? And it seems crazy to say that that's worth $4,500 approximately per article. Is that a flat rate set that we're establishing? Can we have a budget for that, for that same budget for 9 or 10 articles that are only 800 words? How can we divide this up that we're getting the most content that we can get for that amount of money?
Steve, for the record, so he has broken it down for scheduling 50 hours per each article at a rate of $90 an hour. That's how it was broken down. This isn't our number that we came up with. When we had our discussions with Jeffrey Carlson, this is the number that he came up with as far as how much it will cost him per time and what he charges for his work.
Okay, I get that, and I don't know, that seems like a lot of money per article to me, but maybe not. I don't know what research actually costs.
Well, I would say,
having never done any in my life.
Still, off the record, I think that's a fundamental question that needs to be answered. Some stories you can research and write within a couple of days. Others are going to take a deeper amount. So I'm thinking, rather than set a certain amount of hours per story, we set a dollar figure. We're willing to pay, I'll make the number up, $1,000 for each article that is 900 words. We set some sort of parameter. So that's why I was wondering whether we should reject this article or whether we can keep amending it and changing it so much that this particular action item is different than the one that's written here. I don't know how much amending we can do where we're getting out of bounds.
Chairman, if I may, can I ask a question real quick? This is Jim Lewis for the record. Because I'm trying to understand what it is you're trying to get at. Because if what you're trying to get at is really $31,500 seems fine to get us started drafting the articles we need. We just don't right now know what we need. Maybe what you do is you approve the amount of money and make sure that your historic preservation officer understands that at the end of the day, it's this group that needs to determine what's going to be written, right? Or if you want some more control, the commission wants more control, which makes perfect sense. We could come back with different agenda items with smaller amounts so you know exactly what the plan is going to be. But then we're waiting, to get funding to do the articles. So if you could try to maybe describe more what you want.
Okay, I would say that we would like to begin allocating a dollar figure, still off for the record, a dollar figure, and we'll use $30,000 to begin the process to select stories that we feel that the public needs additional information, historic information. And then secondly, we would set the amount of how long the stories should be and whether or not we want images included. And then thirdly, that we are willing to pay a flat figure for each of these articles. Let's say that we want an article on the May 15th auction, we want it to be 1,000 words, and we're going to pay $1,000 for that. And it's open. And so if somebody beyond Mr. Carlson, maybe somebody at UNLV, a professor, wants to write one of these stories, they could submit, but that puts more work on Dr. Seabrant, and or maybe it's another action item every month. We approve 3 more articles at $1,000 a piece, and those are the ones that, so that's kind of the ball that I'm suggesting.
So, Seabrant, for the record, so what you're suggesting administratively, doing a new contract every month is absolutely not possible.
Okay.
So it just won't happen.
Quarter.
So, if this commission feels that this is not what they want, then I suggest that you deny this. I'll go back and speak with Mr. Carlson about what we just spoke about today. And if the commission feels that they would rather say, we want to hire somebody and we put out our own proposal for bids, we could do that as well. But we can't, again, just the way our contracts work, I can't have one person writing an article here from UNLV and Mr. Carlson writing an article here, because those require 2 different contracts.
If I may, Jim Lewis again. It seems to me that what I'm hearing and what Diane's hearing is that there is interest in the commission to, one, make sure that what's being written for the money is relevant and something this commission wants to see on our website, and that makes perfect sense. So, I mean, there's a couple ways to do it. If you obeying this won't really get the job done because it's just the same item next month. So you could deny this item. Diane and I could kind of talk about ways to skin the cat. I mean, it seems to me that if you wanted to have an item where you allocated X dollars, and then you would delegate some authority to Diane to allocate the dollars once we had an agenda item down the road where you guys discussed what you wanted to hear. You could direct her, okay, go use some of that money in that contract to get X, Y, and Z done. Maybe that's a way to do it, so we're not bringing back singular contracts for every $1,000 article. The problem is there's a bureaucratic process whereby everything that she wants in contract has to come through like our office first, and it has to go to a different place, and so it would lengthen the amount of time necessary to get approvals from you for getting this stuff done.
Chair, can I go ahead and do a motion to do what Mr. Wallace said first, where we do approve this contract, but then we say that we want to have control over what gets written, just to see if there's appetite among the board to vote for that?
Well, I was going to suggest that we deny without prejudice, and we ask what the city attorney's office has just recommended, to come back with something that encompasses what we are trying to do.
Yeah, Chairman, if I could just answer that directly, if you don't mind. What happens is if you approve this one's $31,500 for that particular content creator, where we're going to be spending all of that $31,500 for the reasons associated, or the things associated with what's before you today. So if the desire of this board is to have a little bit more control over the money and how it's spent, then I think that maybe we come back to you with something that works a little bit better. It's a little more flexible that gives you more power on a per, like, article basis.
And Seaborn, for the record, if I can just jump in. So a couple years ago, so we've already done this. A couple years ago, this commission approved funding for us to use for our strategic outreach programming. And so we still have money remaining in that. And so we use that every time we do neighborhood meetings or, you know, we need to produce literature. And so because the commission approved that as a bulk, we just use that approval to say, because of the way it's worded in our agenda item, if we can use it for paying a content creator, whatever this commission wants to do, write 5 articles, write 100 articles.
What I'm suggesting is, I really like Mr. Carlson's basic ideas that we need to have some more than 30 words for historic elements on the timeline. And so what I'm suggesting is input from the commissioners, because we have Mr. Carlson's timeline here, using that as a beginning and sending those ideas to your office, and then also having an action item as was more or less outlined by the city attorney's office on how we would get to that point to where funds could be allocated for people to write articles.
Jack Levine, for the record. So is the contract just with Carlson? Or is it an open-ended
for
that we could
this-
do some here and some there, this author or that author?
For this action item, it would just be Mr. Carlson.
Okay. So what I objected to in the, or what bothered me in the background is the 50 hours per at $90 an hour, because some topics require the full 1,000 pages, and some might only require 500 words, and some might require 1,000 words, and there certainly should, I think, should be more than 7 things being covered under 7 topics being covered under this this grant. So I'd really like to see us that, you know, that we can say we want 1,000 words on this one, but 500 words on that one, and whatever, until we've used it up and have to vote for more because there's still more that we want to put out.
So
My question, still off the record, if we make a motion to deny, and I don't want to add without prejudice because it's Mr. Carlson's idea, but I want to deny this. Do you have enough information to go forward with what we would like you to do?
Yes.
Well, then I'd like
Commissioner
to-
Laramie, before we make a motion, I'd just like to add to this conversation that I think beyond the blog post, there's a lot of value in just increasing our online presence as a commission. And so if it could be expanded, you know, each blog post can also have social media content that drives people to the blog and other kind of ways, quick ways to engage the public to drive them to the blog. And I know that we do have a lot of online traffic to our history section, but increasing that and tying it back to the Historic Preservation Commission and the work that we do, I think is really important. So it sounds like we're moving in the direction of denying this and writing something that's a little more open-ended that allows us more control and that better fits our needs. And so I would add to that to just generally expand our online presence as a commission through this effort.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Commissioner Grimmer, for the record, first of all, I'm glad you brought that up because I agree putting an article on a website is one thing, but driving traffic to it is something that we should be thinking about more. I know one of the options for one of the training sessions we're going to talk about later is actually how to expand your social media presence. I think just thinking about that in general is a really good idea. But I guess my question for staff would be, you know, sort of related to Commissioner Levine's inquiries. Is this sort of the going rate for this kind of a service? I mean, when you break that down to 31,000 divided by 50 hours, that's $620 an hour. Is that standard?
I've not worked with other content creators, so I do not know the answer to that. But for example, it's not the same because it's a little bit different work for our cultural resource management contracts. It's usually about $90, about $70 to $90 that we pay them per hour. But again, it's a completely different thing that they're doing than creating content. So I can't answer if this is normal or not.
Real quick though, it's not $600 an hour because the 90, just so we're clear, what he put in his email, his letter was 50 hours times 90 per hour times 7 articles. So it's actually $90 an hour, not 600 and something dollars an hour.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I do also, just to add to that, Commissioner Laramie, I do think that there would be value in opening this up to at least a competitive process. There are other, engagement and content creators in our community. Jeff is certainly, one of the ones that we know it has quality research and is factual. And so I think he would be a great person to do this work. But since we don't really know what the going rate for this kind of work is, I think there's value in getting a couple bids on the project as well.
Chairman, I hate to get in the weeds as a lawyer here, but NRS 332 is the statute that kind of governs state or city purchasing, how it is we buy services. If we choose to use a competitive process, then we have to use a competitive process. The fact of the matter is, folks like this are probably a professional service, which means we don't have to use a competitive process. My only point is this: there is pure competition where you go out and you say, here are all the things we want. The lowest bidder gets the job, right? If we choose to do that, we have to do that. What I might suggest we do as your lawyer is we do a different kind of competition. It's a request for qualifications. We tell people, hey, listen, HBC is looking for folks to create some content. We're not necessarily looking for the lowest price. We're looking for the best price. You tell us what you can do for us, and then we're going to select one or more of you from this list that we create.
One or more.
One or more. And I just don't. I don't want to go down the road too much into the weeds, but I just don't want to get us caught up in here's some things we want, and now we want the lowest price, and now you're stuck with somebody that maybe you weren't looking for. So just I think that type of competition makes a lot of sense. The latter type, which is let's build ourselves a list of people that we like, and then we can select from there. If that sounds okay to you.
That sounds fine. My intent wasn't to suggest we take the lowest price. I just think the intent was to have a better idea of what our options are. And I think that we've done that. Staff has done that really with how we handle our register nominations and hiring. We're not really usually in the weeds of that. I think the idea, though, is just to ensure that we're getting a project that meets all of our needs with someone that is able to do all of that. But quality is certainly preferred above lowest price as well.
And so, for the record, one element the city of Las Vegas has a brand new, very knowledgeable and experienced communication director running the Department for Communication of the city, and it has already a very aggressive social media platform, and maybe there's an opportunity in one of our coming meetings where that department could make a presentation to the HPC on recommendations on how the HPC could have a stronger social media presentation. But with that said, I'd like to make a motion to deny, as I thought I had already made that motion, but if I haven't, it's to deny 26-0135-HPC1 regarding historic blog post for the City of Las Vegas website, with the understanding that the city will come back with a fresh approach.
So we have a motion to deny the application in front of us without prejudice. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries with the chair voting in favor. Moving on then to item number 10, 26-0136-HPC1, discussion for possible action regarding approval of Historic Preservation Commission funds in the amount of $6,000 for in-person training to cover 4 topics for Historic Preservation Commissioners and to choose which topics offered by the National Alliance of Preservation Commissioners Commission Assistance and Mentoring Program, or CAMP. Dr. Seabrand.
Seabrand, for the record, yeah, it's a mouthful, isn't it?
Yes.
So this is from our discussion at our last meeting. Teresa sent out the poll to ask which topics everybody was most interested in. And we had the top 4, but we had some late votes, so now we have the top 5. So and also there was the discussion of how many topics everybody wanted to do. And we basically have a tie between commissioners wanting to just have 2 topics, and which would be $3,500, or commissioners that prefer 4 topics would be the $6,000. So today we need to determine which of the 5 that you want 2, or do you want 4? And the discussion we just had, social media strategies, could very well fit into hopefully giving us more understanding of what that means. That is one of the topics. Again, I'm not here to tell you which ones to pick, but we have the legal basics, enforcement and violations, envisioning infill design, preservation planning, and community visioning and engagement. So I'm happy to take comments or discussion.
Commissioner Laramie, just quickly, and is this because I know there was also a question regarding in-person or virtual, what's being proposed here?
I'm sorry, this is in person. Everybody wanted in person.
In person, okay, thank you. Questions?
So we have to pick, Jack Labine for the record. So we somehow right now we need to pick either 3 topics or 5 or 4 2 topics or 4 topics, and eliminate 1 or eliminate 3 of these. How do we do that? I mean, are we voting? I mean, I especially want to see the social media strategies included. Okay, and the infill are my 2 favorites. So.
Well, it's Jim, can we take a hand vote?
They can discuss this amongst themselves however they like, and then at the end of the discussion, they just come up with a motion to make. So certainly, however you guys want to kind of get to the 4 or the 3 or however many, you please do.
Jack Labine for the record. So my mic's still on, so I would like us to certainly see the social media and the preservation planning and enforcement and violations. That's, I think, is a topic we need to discuss, and the legal basics for all the new people that are on the panel, that on the board, that might really benefit from that.
Okay, that's 3. So
that's 3.
If you want to do 4, we need 1 more.
Okay. Well, somebody else throw one in.
Commissioner Laramie, why don't we start quickly and just go down the road to understand who's interested in 2 topics versus 4 topics. And I think that can give us a better idea of where we stand, and then we can decide on how many topics we'd like to pick.
So for a quick question, do we go with how it's laid out on the screen or on the memo?
Let's go with the screen.
Go with the screen, yes.
Okay.
In case
Chair,
folks
can
don't
I-
have the memo.
Chair, can I ask a question?
Yes, of course.
And I apologize for not remembering all of this from the last meeting. But one of the questions in the survey was how many hours could you devote at a time? So if we choose 2 items, are they like 4-hour sessions? And then if we choose 4 items, are they 2-hour sessions? maybe that's in the background and I didn't read it well enough.
That's a
Hold-
good question.
Hold on 1 minute. It was in the backup. Hold on.
I don't think so. I don't know.
I honestly can't answer that right now. Teresa, can you please look for that answer? So
1 hour.
all
I
camp
just
training,
found
1
it.
hour camp training, plan meeting with camp trainers. So it would be, I mean, if everybody can't make it for every single one for the entire time, that's understandable.
Yeah, that was my thought as well, although if we don't have a significant number of folks interested in the more topics, maybe that pushes us one way. It does say in the backup material, each topic option listed below is 1 hour in length. So I guess so it would be between 2 to 4 hours that we would be voting on right now.
Thank you. Yes, that's correct.
And all that happens in one day.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So can we have just a quick vote on whether you would prefer 2 or 4 hours? We'll just go down the line and we'll start with you, Commissioner.
It's Commissioner Harper for the record.
Harper, thank you.
I'd be interested in seeing 4 topics, and I think I'd take all the bottom 4, leave off the legal basics.
Okay.
I'd be interested, Commissioner Purdue would be interested in 2 topics. I would like the design review and also the specific topics, the specialty topics, social media.
Okay.
Commissioner Moody, 2 topics, and the top 2 bullet points.
Commissioner Surface.
Commissioner Surface, top 2 bullet points, 2 topics.
Okay.
Still 4 items, 1, 2, and,
It's on.
I'm sorry. Can't hear me, eh? Items, 4 topics, items 1, 2, 4, 5.
Okay.
Not including infill design exercise. Yep.
Commissioner Laramie, my preference would be for 4 topics. And all the topics look good to me, so I'm good wherever we end up.
Commissioner Levine, I'm for 4 topics, and 1, 2, 4, and 5 would leave out the design review.
Commissioner Cosgrove?
Commissioner Cosgrove, I would say the exact same thing, so everything except for the infill.
Okay. Commissioner Palacios?
My duration's about 2 sessions, so I would be interested in design review and engagement and emerging topics.
Okay. And Commissioner Grimmer?
I would be supportive of 4 topics, everything except the infill design review.
Okay. So we have a slight preference for the 4 topics. So I think that we would probably want to move forward with that, understanding that those who have less time they're able to commit can come to 2 of the sessions and leave, and that's no problem. We of course can have a final vote on that, but that would be my recommendation there. And then I did not do as well with remembering what folks were interested in, but it sounds like that the least interest was in the infill. Did I hear that correctly?
I think so.
So we could move forward if we're all in agreement with the 4 topics excluding the infill exercise.
I can make a recommendation that our motion that we move forward with the 4 topics that are listed. There are 5 topics listed. The one that we would not include is the infill design.
We have a motion on the floor. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries with the chair voting in favor. And I'd just like to add, I know I mentioned this last time, if there is an opportunity to invite other members in the preservation community to this training as well, I think that would be a great idea if that doesn't add additional funding to our plate.
It wouldn't add additional funding, but I'd have to check with legal on that.
Sure.
We did it last time, but things have changed.
Okay, item number 11, report by the Community Development Department regarding director's updates.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Seth Floyd for the record. Well, I'm back, as you can see. So Michael Cunningham, he was so excited working with you all, he decided he would take another job to get out of having to come again. No, as you may have heard, Mike is now our acting Public Works Director. And we'll be in that role at least for 2 months, potentially longer. We have just assigned, as of Monday of this week, an acting Deputy Director of Building and Safety. But because he has a lot on his plate and he's actually doing 2 jobs right now, I'm not going to ask him to fill in. So most likely, I will be filling in through all of these transition points until we have folks sitting in those seats permanently. So if we identify someone who's going to step in on a longer term basis, I will let you know. But I think you're stuck with me for at least the next couple of months.
All right, and that concludes your update?
That is my update for today. Thank you.
Okay, well, welcome back, Seth. Item number 12, then, report by the Community Development Department regarding project list update.
So, Steve Brent for the record again. So we've done well to complete all of our projects. I had 2 updates. The the Historic Preservation Awards. Thank you for those of you who have submitted your nominations. Appreciate that. If anybody else or there are more nominations that you feel are worthy, please make sure you get them to us by April 19th. And the only other update I have is our updated nomination for the National Register of Historic Places for the old Mormon fort went to the keeper of the register in DC, but they had comments and kicked it back to us. So we don't necessarily agree with all of the comments. So I am waiting for a confirmation on a meeting with the DC reviewers so that we can actually ask some questions as to why some of these recommendations or changes were requested. And that's the only updates I have. I'm happy to ask questions.
Do we have any questions or comments?
I'm curious, just like a ballpark headline, what kind of topics were they objecting to?
So there were concerns, say Brent for the record, there were concerns on criteria consideration E for reconstructed properties, the classification and resource counts, criteria and areas of significance, the period of significance, criterion D for archaeology, prehistory, and archaeology historic, integrity, and they requested fewer photographs.
Commissioner Harper, or I'm sorry, Commissioner Purdue?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, Commissioner Stodall.
Just a question on the process. If we have to make changes after the discussion and so forth, even if it's moving the photographs throughout the report, will that have to come through us, then go to the state again, and then the whole process?
It would, and it would also require additional funding because our contract with CATS Environmental has completed on this project. So if we need CATS to redo this information, we can't ask them to do it for free, of course, so we would have to do another contract.
This has come up in past years in different ways. Is there any way to put in the contract if their work is rejected, that they need to be responsible for correcting it? I mean, if I was to do something and this is a bad word, and it's wrong because I think it's a great nomination. I should have some responsibility to fix it. But I don't know if that's how it works.
Well, I mean, we can't ask somebody to devote hours to work they're not being paid for, especially when we do not necessarily agree with these changes.
Right.
So we could put that in the contract. I personally would not be comfortable with that because I think we should pay people for their work.
Okay.
Commissioner Laramie, just to add to that, I think that that is a slippery slope because it really depends on the nature of the comments. There could be some, like, submitting less pictures that I could see being something that maybe is a comment that could be addressed within the existing contract, but they are asking for some pretty substantial changes on this one that would necessitate, I think, above and beyond what you would expect, just some, basic corrections to be.
And yes, I ran for the record, that is correct. Right, if it's something like we had some spelling errors, of course, they would correct that. But this is very significant changes that they're asking for. And I shared this with Chair Laramie and Commissioner Stoddall. I'm happy to share it with everybody else if they want to read it. If it's a lot of word. It's a very wordy document. But if anybody else would like to read it, I don't know, Nathan, you probably might want to read the archaeological part.
Well, I think it would be helpful off the record because one of the pieces that is important, moving the photographs around, but the period of significance is always something that I think is important, and especially with this particular one where the period of significance was changed. So I think there's some information here that needs to be expanded a little bit, but you've answered my question, which is if there are some changes that we have to make, which is likely we will have to do something because they aren't accepting it, then it's got to go through the whole process again, first to get some money, and then so maybe we just need to put the money on the next agenda. I don't know. Okay, thank you.
Who fights this out with them? Is there a discussion back and forth that, okay, we'll remove this request and tone down this request and whatever, and that's you doing that, and then they just need to update the file, or?
So I have never had to have a discussion with the Park Service about this before. So, but I'll obviously work with SHPO because they are more familiar with this process than I am. But yes, it would be a discussion. Perhaps we can clarify some of their questions verbally rather than having to change the entire document. Or maybe we can understand a little bit better when we have a verbal discussion with them of what they want changed. But yes, that would be a discussion with myself, our consultant, and SHPO and the Park Service.
Okay, and all that comes before we actually update. Okay. So
Sorry, yes, that all comes before that.
It's not just the person who did it. I forget who you just said it, but it's not them fighting with Park Service. It's you and SHPO and everybody else fighting with the Park Service first.
I don't want to say we're fighting with them, but we will discuss with them.
Okay, discussing with them. Okay.
Intense discussion.
Intense discussion of why they're wrong. Okay.
Apologize. Are there any other questions or comments on this item? Nope. Okay. We will move on to item 13, 26-0137-HPC1, report by the Community Development Department regarding historic and archaeological resources in the local media. As always, Diane provided us with a fabulous list of article links of things that have made their way into our media over the last month or so. Does anybody have any questions or comments on the articles we were provided? Okay, we will move on then to item 14, discussion regarding topics for future agenda items. Comments made during this portion of the agenda by individual members shall refer solely to proposals for future agenda items, and any discussion shall be limited to whether or not such proposed items are within the purview of the commission and/or whether such proposed items shall be placed on a future agenda. No discussion regarding the substance of any such proposed topic shall occur, and no action shall be taken. Any commissioners would like to put forward any topics for future discussion?
I'd like to, the idea that of social media, if we could get somebody from the communication department to come down and help guide the HPC on how we can have more of a social media presence. Thank you. Which was not my idea, but thank you.
Any other items from commissioners? I'll just add as well, we talked about earlier in the meeting, bringing back the list of projects that are in potential need of an update, of a nomination update, with the ability to decide and allocate funding for some of those updates. I know there's a handful of projects still kind of being closed out, so when capacity opens up to do that, that'd be great to bring that back too.
And I'd like to see the 100 Theater report on a future agenda.
Item 15, citizens' participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the commission. No subject may be acted upon by the commission unless that subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, please come forward and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion on any single subject, as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed, may be limited. Do we have any members of the public wishing to speak at this time? Seeing none, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.